Okay, so today we're going to be doing a lithium conversion kit on an EZGO RXV. This is a 2017, but it's going to be the same as far as the 08 and up. They used the 412 volts throughout those years. Some did come with 6-8 volts, so I can't say for sure it will work on the 6-8 volt battery tray. But let's get started on this one. Easy way to tell if you have an RXV, for one, it'll say it on the side. EZGO RXV. If you have a TXT, this is not the video for you. I did do a video on that conversion as well. Another easy way to tell, the forward reverse is on the key. It's not a toggle switch. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this water system out of the way by plunging it up. All right, now that that's out, we're gonna go ahead and start taking off the battery cables. But before we do that, let's go ahead and flip the golf cart to tow. And then I'm just gonna zap off all the hardware and remove all the cables. Okay, now that I've zapped off all the hardware, what I like to do is zip tie the main positive and the main negative, all these terminals together. That way they stay together while I'm working. So I've already zip tied them, so now I'm just gonna stuff them out of the way. Now as far as the cables, you just go ahead and start just taking them off and tossing them. Not gonna be using them. Okay, now the cables are off, what we're gonna do is go ahead and remove the tie down rods, which we have 3 on this one back here, and then 2 up front. I'm gonna zap those off, and once I have released the pressure off of this, there's another bolt right down here. Just take that guy off, and then we'll get that moved out of the way. Okay, zapped them off. Now this is very common. When you go to zap this off, there's a lot of corrosion on these tie down rods, and they can break off. They're sitting between lead acid batteries, which can corrode any metal going through the side of it. So that's normal. I mean, we're not even gonna reuse these, so I'm just gonna throw it away. Now, as far as the last bolt, just take it off, and this plate comes up. You just bend that guy out of the way. There's the bolt I took out, and then this comes out. And then we can start lifting these batteries out. Okay, got the batteries out. As you can see, it's really nasty in here. Now, the only trouble is I can't push the golf cart now because it has the automatic brake. So, you know, it's stuck until it has voltage. So what we're gonna do is install the battery and then take it and wash it. So what we're gonna put in today is that lithium battery. There's all the stuff it came with. All the batteries are out. So I'm gonna start unpackaging it all, and let's figure out how that all goes together. Okay, so we're doing the higher capacity lithium battery this time. Normally I do the S51156, which is their entry-level battery. This one's the higher capacity, it's the S51105. So it does weigh more. The other one weighs 76 pounds, this one weighs 95. So here's everything it came with. Here are the mounting brackets, here's the cables to extend the positive negative, the main positive negative. Let me get everything unwrapped here and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, got everything out of the box. We have our mounting hardware, battery meter, mounting brackets, and then the battery cables over there on the end. Now, you need to use this battery meter if you want to know your actual voltage. On RXVs, pull one of these out, you can get another battery meter, which looks like this. You know, plugs in right behind the dash. This I would not suggest using because it's really meant for lead acid batteries. So if you have this on the dash, I'd probably remove it and then run the new battery meter, just so you know where you're at on a charge, because RXVs do lock up when they go out of juice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this battery, flip it on its side, and start mounting the mounting brackets. Okay, so I've got the brackets ready to go on. Now with the RoyPow facing towards me, I'm gonna flip it on its side so I can put these mounting brackets on. So as you can see, the mounting brackets do have a certain way to go on. They're not the same. So you got straight and you have an edge sticking out. This is gonna go towards the front of the battery. Right there. Let me hand thread them and then I'll show it to you standing up. Okay, so you wanna hand thread them on first. Don't just put your impact on and start zapping. You could cross thread and you have to drill them out. It's gonna be a big headache. I'm honestly not even gonna zap them down right now because I still need the plates to move around when I go to put it in the golf cart. So I hand thread them all the way down till this is pretty much snug. It's not right now, but I'm gonna get it to where it's snug, but I can still move it around. And then those plates go into these channels right there, with the terminals facing towards the driver's side. Okay, got it snugged up, that way I can still move it around when I go to put it in. Okay, got it in, facing the driver's side. The plates are right in those grooves that I showed you. Down there too. Now, the reason why I put them this way is because the receptacle, these wires right here, are not long enough to reach. See, they only go to the edge of the battery, which if we put it this way, the terminals would have been right here. So this is not easy to cut and extend. So that's why I'm gonna put it this way. Also, it's easier to turn your battery from this angle. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna drill those 2 holes on each side and go ahead and start getting the hardware to go through. Now that I got the battery where I want it, before I drill the holes, I'm gonna go ahead and zap down the hardware. All right, I grabbed the hardware. Now, as you can see, these cannot slide. So these are obviously they're gonna be left on top. You're just gonna take your nut, put it on the bottom. All right, lock washer up top. Just slides into place. Now I am just gonna go find me a washer to put on the bottom instead of just having this small nut be on the bottom. And then I'm just gonna hand thread on the bottom. Once I got all 4 in, then I'm gonna zap them down. Okay, I'm about to zap these down. I've got them all slid through their hole, and then I hand threaded the nut on the end with the washer. So the reason why I had the brackets facing this way, so you see how RoyPow's facing that way, that's why I had that angle come off that way, so it pushes the battery more forward. If we reverse the brackets, this thing would have been underneath here a little bit, which is not ideal, especially when you're trying to slide in a 100-pound battery. It kind of makes it a little bit trouble to get that battery to slide in underneath the body and drop into place. So I'm gonna go ahead and zap these down, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, got them all zapped down. Now what I used was my impact with an extension with a 13 on the end, and then went from the bottom with a long socket 13, and then I just zapped it down from the top. It was just easier because I couldn't get my impact down there to do it. But that's what I use. Now what we're going to do is going to get stuff wired into the battery. Now unfortunately they did not send me long enough cables, so that's about a 12-inch cable. So was that one. So I'm gonna pull up my cover here. Okay, so this obviously a long cable, but it's not long enough to reach to my positive. So what I'm about to do is, from another kit, I pulled out a longer cable. So I'm gonna use that cable. I'm gonna go over here to the side of the solenoid. I'm gonna go ahead and take it off and use this cable to run it to the positive side. Now I have to be careful because it's black and I can't tell for sure that it's a positive cable once I take off this one. So once I remove this one, I'm just gonna go ahead and run it over there and put a bolt through it just so I know it's my positive cable. So since this is fed into, this yellow cable is fed into the positive cable, what I'm gonna do is actually cut it, and I'm gonna crimp a new terminal end on it, just because it's wired in that way. Now, again, if I move the battery and I reversed it, the receptacle cannot reach. Now the receptacle is harder to move the lines. So if you want to move the lines, you can. Just make sure you know what you're doing, because there is a fuse on there. Yeah, here's your fuse. So you can't really cut this guy off. So however you want to do it to get this guy to extend, and as you see, it only goes to the edge. You need it to go about another 3 inches to reach the terminal if you reverse the battery and had it facing this way. It's easier for me just to order a longer cable and then just crimp a new terminal in on a single wire cable that does not have a fuse on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. All right, cut the wire. As you can see, I exposed the wire. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the ring terminal on, and then I'm gonna use vice grips to pinch it on there. Okay, here comes the fun part. So the cable that was provided was not long enough, as I said. So we're gonna take the negative cable off right here, which is a little bit shorter, and we don't need as much room to run the positive cable. So I'm gonna take this cable off, move it up to the solenoid, I'll run it to the positive, then I'm gonna use that longer cable to use it on the controller because I need a little bit more length to get to the negative side of the battery. Okay, so I took it off the controller. As you can see, the terminal here is super small compared to that guy. So I need to cut this off and then crimp a new end. Now, if you don't want to go through this hassle, just go buy you longer cables, which you just have to get long cables, that's it. Going from your controller over to your negative on the back side right there, and then your positive coming off the solenoid, coming right over there. So as you can see, I've already got that cable there hand threaded on. Now I'm just working on the positive. So I have all the stuff here to cut this cable, put a new terminal end on it, and you know, you reuse this cable. But again, if you don't want to, I'll measure it real quick so I can tell you how long it is. Okay, so I measured the cable, it's about 33 inches. So if you want to be sure, just get you a 35. Cut off the old one, crimped on a new one, gave it a tug, it's on there. So now it's time to put this guy on. Now, these cables are about 6 gauge, so that's what you want to use if you're buying new cables and you got a kit like I did where it came with the wrong cables. I mean, not even close. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this guy on. Okay, got the cable on, hand threading the nut on. So I'm gonna get a socket and tighten. Okay, now that I got that on there, it's tight, and I got the yellow wire going there as well. Now let's get the receptacle hooked up. Now this whole mess was because of this guy. Because of this fuse. Now if you want to cut this, you can. You just cut it way back here. You have 3 wires inside and they're little bitty wires. Cut it, extend it, keep the fuse. I'm going to do it this way. The longer cables don't really bother me. It just took about another maybe 5 minutes worth of work to get those cables right. Okay, got it all hand threaded. I did have to extend one more wire, which was coming off the harness right over here, which obviously is not long enough. So cut, exposed the wire, crimped it, ran over here, new terminal, that little blue terminal. So this was obviously the more, I won't say complicated way, because I had to move wires around from the controller solenoid because I want the battery positioned this way. And the reason I want it positioned this way is because when I run my light kit, it's going to be coming on this side. I want to be mounting my voltage reducer over here. So I want everything facing this way. It's just easier to put all my accessories running to the battery facing this way. You can go the other way. Now let me show you the receptacle. So you got 3 wires coming off the back. Don't worry about the blue, and that blue one plugs into your harness. So you got those 3 wires coming off the back. These 2, the positive and negative right here, easy to cut and extend. Those 2 are not the one I was worried about. It's the one right here with the fuse. Now this is a harness I had laying around, so I went in and cut it off here and exposed the wire so I can show you. So you got a positive and a negative running through there. Very fine wires, itty bitty guys. So if you want to cut and extend these and then crimp it and do it that way and have the battery facing the controller, go ahead. I'm gonna have it facing this way, a little more work, but this is the way that I would like it to be. It's just gonna be easier because how all the light kits ran. It's just gonna be easier to access those bolts right there. All right, last thing before I power this guy up. Now I've got my positive here tightened down. I got the negative tightened down. Now there's all the wires that were on the lead acid batteries that we zip tied earlier, and then on the positive side you have the red coming off the receptacle with the fuse coming off the receptacle, and then the black wire sort of looping around and made it right there. So it's all there so I can charge the batteries because the receptacle's hooked up, but it's ready to be powered on. But one last thing, it does come with the battery meter that I'm going to be running later. The way I'm going to run this is through the floor mat. There's a channel going right on the right side of your gas pedal, up and right where that knot is. It goes underneath your cup holder, and then I'm just going to run it to the dash right up there. Okay, so the battery meter is easy to install. Slides in, and then you just have this nut to slide over. It's tight. So now that's on. It'll come on once we power up the battery. I'm going to double check everything before I power it on just to make sure all my cables are ran correctly. Okay, double checked everything, so we're ready to power this guy on. I am going to leave the golf cart in tow just to while I power this on. So let's power it on. When the green light comes on, it's live, and then your battery meter will come on with it. There it is. As I said, we're in tow. Okay, so now we're just gonna power it on to neutral to release the brake. It did, so it does roll freely. Now I'm gonna shut it off to lock the brake, and then I'm gonna flip this guy into run, and now we're gonna see if it runs. All right, run forward. Yep. Reverse. Okay, so all I gotta do is, I am probably going to remove this guy if the bolt doesn't reach, or bend it just to give it some extra, I don't know, secure it down. But if you want to remove it, not hard, same bolt as before, it's just right down there on the bottom. You just gotta get that guy out. And then this whole bar comes out. And I just got to put this guy back on, not hard. A little harder with one hand, there it goes. And then it just takes push trees to push that in, which is, if you care to see, here they go. Push tree. And the third, right there. So now that's back on, it's covering up all the wires. Receptacle's hooked up. Now I'm probably gonna clean this up and zip tie some wires away. So when I go and wash this, you know, to get some of that corrosion out, make this battery tray look new. Okay, so if you want to leave this bracket on, it does reach. If you want to take it off, again, take out that bolt. And you got one over here. A little bit of trouble to get to. That's right there. So you just got to reach down there and get a wrench on and just ratchet it out, and then you get the whole bar out. I'm probably going to remove it. I just put it on to show you that it does fit. When I take this body off, I'm just going to have a ton of more access to get that nut out. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. But if you want to leave the bracket on, go right ahead. Just extra securing the battery down. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section. Have a good one. All right, one last thing before I wrap it up. So you have a charger that comes with the battery. Make sure you use the lithium charger. Do not use your lead acid charger. It will not work. Okay, I've got it unboxed, and what I mean by your lead acid charger won't work, your lead acid charger will not measure the parameters it needs to measure for a lithium battery, and can catch your golf cart on fire. So do not even try it. Even if it powers on and shows charging your battery, it is not supposed to be charging a lithium battery. Only use this charger that measures for a lithium battery. So very easy to install. You just rotate this guy until it goes in, and then this piece rotates. All right, plug that in. Now we're just gonna plug in the other cord for the outlet. Goes right in there, can't mess that up. All right, plugged it in. Got it going to the outlet. Got this part plugged in. This is pushed over, secured. Now it's ready to go into the golf cart. Got the green light. This should power on. Give it a second. There it goes. So it's gonna start blinking, and the fan's gonna come on also, because this thing can get hot. So don't put it next to boxes or anything else. Let it vent. When that light goes solid green, you're 100%. So thanks for watching, guys. this lithium battery job is done.